Warahmatullahi Wabarakatuh. And very good morning to everyone. Okay, I am Dr. Sadri from CPD, and I would like to welcome to our training online gamification in active learning for higher educations. To get the barakah for today's training, let's recite Umur Kitab Al-Fatihah. Introduce our speaker trainer for today is Associate Professor Dr. Maizatul Hayati Mohamad Yatim. She is from University Pendidikan Sultan Idris, UPSI, and also Dean Faculty of Computing and Meta Technology. She is also one of the editor and also author of KPT Guideline for Gamifications to be used by all the FPTA. All right, so without further ado, the session is your Dr. Maizatul.
Thank you, Dr. Santri. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillah. Okay, can you see my screen? We don't.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yes, Doctor.
Yes, we can see.
Okay. So basically, let me straight away present. But before that, I would like to thank CPD, UIA or IIUM for inviting me for this 2 hours gamification. I'm not going to say as a hands-on workshop, but hopefully that everyone will get the gist of what is gamification is all about. So the title for today is Online Gamification in Active Learning for Higher Education. Before that, I'm so sorry because I'm not feeling very well since 2 days ago. So my voice is still healing. Hopefully that you can bear with the low bass of my voice. So we start with the title itself. It has 3 things in terms of the key point of the title. First is the online gamification. The second one is active learning, and the third one, most probably everyone know, is about higher education. So there's a difference between the traditional or conventional gamification versus online gamification. So we will go through that later. The second one is about active learning. So I guess everyone know that by facing the COVID pandemic, so everyone has to change the way of conventional teaching and learning towards the new norm of active teaching and learning. However, it has a difficulty in terms of finding whether your students are actually passive or active in terms of learning through online learning. So this is what the thing that we can look about, and how we can integrate gamification into active learning, especially in the condition of online learning, including assessment, online assessment. Next will be the higher education. So basically, when you talk about gamification, or using the game elements or using games precisely in terms of your teaching and learning delivery, we can refer to our kindergarten experience, where we play a lot during those days. So what about higher education? So can we play games while learning, or is just a sugar coated? So this is also another thing that we can discuss about on how we can incorporate gamification in higher education institution, especially in higher education institution. So I'm a lecturer in computing department. It's a new faculty called Faculty of Computing and Meta Technology. It has been in UPSI since 1st of February. So during 1st of February 2023, And then I have been selected as the Dean. Before that, I'm the Director of Center for Academic Development in UPSI, and also Quality Management Division. So in that field, it seems that even though my passion is about games and also human-computer interaction, nevertheless, I use these two prongs in the academic line. It means that I've been in UPSI since 2000 for 23 years, being as the industry practitioner and also a person who are in computer science field. When I entered UPSI, I must, or I should know about academic, starting from the philosophy of it, and then up until the assessment part. So how can I incorporate games and also human-computer interaction in the education field? This is a very interesting field, and I'm still learning about it. So you can call me Mai or Dr. Mai. Today we will have 3 learning outcomes. First, at the end of the day, I really need all the participants to differentiate between the terms of gamification versus GBL. It has been quite a lot of discussion regarding the terminology itself, but then at the end of the day, it's about the acceptance of the terminology. We can say that people are referring to the gamification as GBL and vice versa, but then there's a huge differentiate between gamification and GBL. The second one, we are going to look at what are the gamification tools that you can use. As educators, we need to know some of the tools according to their preferences, but then we need to know more, because there are some tools that are suitable for you to use in terms of teaching and learning, but there are also tools that are really need to look back whether it can be useful or not, because there are tools that can be used for free or for fee. So these are the things that we are going to look at the second part of our workshop. So the third one is how to gamify your classroom. So as I mentioned just now, it's about higher education. So higher education, I'm not sure about IIUM, but to make it more interesting, I will share about UPSI. So after the endemic of our COVID pandemic, it seems like there's a huge discussion in the Senate meeting whether we are going to revert back to the conventional style of teaching and learning, or we are going towards the hybrid teaching and learning by using online and hybrid. Of course, you know about hybrid learning or hybrid classroom. So it seems that during the Senate meeting, it is agreeable that since in UPSI there are 2 policies, the teaching and learning in such a way of conventional way, and then the second one is the hybrid teaching and learning. So the lecturers are being given the opportunity to pick which style of teaching and learning that they want to use, whether they want to go back to conventional or they want to stick with the hybrid and also alternative assessment. So in this sense, it means that for the past 1 year or 2 years ago, most of the lecturers in UPSI, they are still experimenting their teaching and learning, we're still learning about it regarding on how to make sure that your students are learning actively through online, hybrid, and also coming back to the conventional way. So we move on to the first part, which is the definition. So anyone can tell me about what's the difference between gamification and GBL? I'm quite sure that you are Googling right now. So By the way, I'm not sure whether you have with you one device or two devices, but hopefully that everyone will get the point of it. So what's the difference between gamification and game-based learning? Can I ask anyone? Oh, the link attendance is here. So saya tak dapat buka kamera, no problem. Okay, anyone can answer? Can I have the list?
I got both our games, right? One
Yeah.
is for education game, the other one is merely playing game, right?
All right. So the thin line in terms of the differentiation between gamification and GBL, we need to look back at the philosophy of it. So in 2011, there's a discussion about where's my mouse? Anyone can see my mouse? Okay, my cursor. Okay. In 2011, there's a session called workshop session in terms of the gamification definition. So it has seems to come up with a proper definition, whereas gamification is a process. So what are the process? It has to do with integrating the game playing elements into a non-game context. So there are two things here, game playing elements and also non-game context. So first of all, let us look at what are the meanings on non-game context. So non-game context, it can be in education, it can be in medical, business, training, military, etc. So what are the list of game playing elements? So game play elements, remember when you are playing games, any games, digital games, non-digital games, board game, card game, there are game playing elements that are, you can see that when you think that that type of element is not in the process or in the activity, so it cannot be called as game playing elements. For example, like rewards. So rewards are one of the gameplay elements, that the most important thing in gameplay elements. So if you are in the game design field, there are what they call as classical game playing elements, which are the mission, the rewards, and also the challenge. And there are also the additional gameplay element, such as the story, the interactive, and etc. So the three classical gameplay elements, as I mentioned just now, are mission, challenge, and reward. So these three things are the most important things. When you want to create games or when you play games, you can see these classical gameplay elements. So if you have these three things, at least these three things into a non-game context, such as in medical or in training or in business. For example, like when you go to 7-Eleven, 7E, so there's some sort of a gamification. They gamify the way they market the products in 7E. For example, like when you buy things that are more than 30 ringgits, you will get a sticker. So that will be the reward. And if you play around, play along with the business or marketing of 7E, if you collect 10 stickers, you will get a bigger reward. So to collect 10 stickers is your mission. And what are the challenge? Of course, you need to buy things. So these are the process of integrating gameplay elements into a non-game context in such a way in 7E, it involves with marketing. So what are the aim? Of course, as to motivate the participant, engagement and loyalty. So the word engagement here, it has to do with us as educators, where you want the student, your learners, to engage in the process of teaching and learning. So this is gamification. So what's GBL? So game-based learning is a strategy where you use games. So when you use any games, non-digital games, digital games, and the non-digital game, it can be indoor game, outdoor game. Indoor game can be in terms of whether it is a card game, board game, tile game. There are a lot of category of games. So if you use that games and then put it in your syllabus or your strategy of teaching strategy, so the student can learn, actively engage, and then they will know what are the educational objectives that you want to reach or you want to gain. For example, like to teach mathematics, for example, you use games. So what types of games that you use mathematics for? Maybe Saidina. Maybe Saidina, or in Malaysia we call it Saidina, but then the original one is Monopoly. So these are the two things. Let's say that we look at the other part of game-based learning. In game-based learning, there are two things where you can use existing games. It can be off the shelf, where you go and buy anywhere in bookstores, for example. You just pick one board game, and then where you can use that particular board game in your classroom. Okay, that should be one way where you take it off the shelf. The second way in game-based learning is that if you cannot find any existing games that suit into your learning outcomes or into your topics of your teaching delivery, so you need to design your own. So this type, I call it as DIY. So if you have it off the shelf, existing game, just take it and then map it, align it with your learning outcome, or you need to design your own. For example, like there is one professor, one lecturer in USIM, University Science Islam Malaysia. He created what he called as Global Zakat Game. It's a board game. You can Google it now. It's a Global Zakat Game. It is a board game where he used that particular game in his classroom to teach about zakat. Okay, if you don't have that particular game in the market, so you design one. You design one. So game-based learning, it can be using any types of game, digital or non-digital. It can be learning by playing games or learning by making games. So there are two things here. Okay. So when I say that gamification and game-based learning is not the same, anybody wants to against this premise? No one? Okay. The thing is that as we know, throughout our social community daily life, people always mention about certain definition, and they use the definition throughout their daily life, and they keep on using the similar definition. So currently, mostly, in fact, in the Ministry of Higher Education, they also use the word gamification. It seems like game-based learning how to say it, they are fear about the word game itself. Even though game, people say that it is not a very good, how to say in Malay they call it lago, or it is in Arabic. So whether it has the side effect of it, positively, negatively, but people don't like the word game inside, beside learning, or game beside education, game beside teaching. It seems like they are fear with the word of game. In 2010, during those years, they have another additional coin where they call it as edutainment. Have you heard about it? Edutainment? Okay. Edutainment, where people say that, okay, edutainment is the combination of education and entertainment. However, how many percent education and how many percent entertainment? Is it 50-50? So how can you incorporate education, something that is so serious, with entertainment that are so joy and fun? So again, okay, again, this is also the word that are still misunderstood about, people misunderstood about the terminology of edutainment. All right, so we go back to the word game-based learning itself. So people say that we don't want everything to be sugar-coated. It is serious, but then it is fun. So people say that maybe the word gamification seems fair enough. So people started to use the word gamification to jumble up everything, to make everything acceptable by looking at the, what you call it, the positive side and also the negative side. So now we can hear that any news or anything that have to do with thesis, student dissertation, most of it will come towards the definition of gamification. However, I can accept that. However, the philosophy of the word itself need to be really understandable by everyone. Okay? All right. So when you talk about games, gamification, game-based learning, and etc., there's another word where they call it as serious games. So what are serious games? If we have game-based learning, which are the process of using games in teaching and learning, what about serious game? So serious game are games that are designed and used in a very serious matter, in a very serious field. For what? It is to train, to educate, and also to upskilling the skills that they want you to have. Okay. I give you an example. There's a game called American Army. Okay, American Army. Have you heard about it? American Army. You can Google it now. Okay, American Army. Oh, just omit the end. Okay. American Army game is actually a game that being produced by the Ministry of Defense USA to train regarding the combat and also combat strategy. And they have a very specific what you call it, task where all this army, the soldiers need to have like 16 to 20 hours of playing that game. It's a compulsory for them to play that game to train them the hand and eye coordination. Hand and eye coordination, especially for those who are going to train about sharpshooting. So the game itself is being developed for a serious matter. So these types of games are commonly used in the gaming industry, but then it has been accepted in the academia of games. Means that more and more games have been developed and also designed seriously. It's not only for fun, it's not only for leisure or hobby, but it has something to do with the seriousness of upskilling skills and etc. So it depends on the organization that are going to make that game. Huh? All right. So anybody is okay? Everyone okay?
Okay.
Okay. So do you want to take a break and play any game?
Still fresh.
Refresh, huh?
Mm.
Okay, after this, I will ask you to play one game, huh? But before that, since we are talking about gamification and you know about the definition of gamification, just bear in mind that it has to do with game playing elements. So what are the game playing elements? These are all the common mechanism of game playing elements, the points, badge, level, leaderboard, and also challenges. So there are a lot of, if you look at here, there's a lot of gamified points that can the gamified what you call elements that you can use towards your teaching. You remember when you are in the kindergarten where the teachers always give you stars if you write it correctly, so they will give you like 5-star or 4-star, 3-star, 1-star is not good enough. So the stars represent points, even though it is not in terms of numbers, but the symbols of stars will give you enjoyment when you see that your teachers give you more star compared to your colleague, your friends. So those are the things that we want to achieve when you want to engage the student. So give them points. It can be stars, it can be in terms of numbers. In fact, the way that we grade them, 70%. Okay, for this exam, you have 99%. So the number of percentage that they got is actually have to do with rewards, have to do with points. So we see on how it goes. So now I want you to play this game. Have you played this game before?
Yes.
Okay, now, oh my God. Okay. So I want you to go to any tab, Google. So just punch in Pac-Man. So you can get the first hits of Pac-Man Doodle. So I give you like 3 minutes to play. Now is okay, 10:30 we come back. So I need you to play this game so that I can ask you more questions after this. All right.
Game over.
Cepat game over. All right, 10:30. Everyone finish? Game over pun game over lah. Okay, so I believe in the shortest time ever, you played Batman Doodle. It's a old game. It's a very interesting game because it was designed for leisure by a Japanese guy for fun. He designed this thing as a hobby, and the most important surprise is that when he wants to create this character, the game character, he was eating a pizza. And when he take one piece of the pizza, it seems that he create a character. So this is what character design in games is all about, the history of it. Okay, can you list down the game playing elements that you can find in this game? Anyone? You can write in your chat if you're so shy. Or you can verbally tell me. So what is the challenge for these games actually? I have 80 participants. Okay, there's something somewhere to finish all the cookies. Okay. Mission to eat all small dot bigger dots and aliens without being eaten, challenging to control the movement. Can you use the keyboard or are you using your smartphone right now? So that will be the game playing elements of interactive. If you are playing keyboard, are you using WQAS or ASQW, or you are using the arrow key? So it has to do with game playing elements, interactive. So the challenge have what as your colleague stated in the chat. So what are the reward that you get? Anyone finish everything in a split second? What types of reward that you get? One
Being-
level up. What types of penalty that you get?
Being eaten.
Being eaten and your life is being deducted one, lose a life, yeah. So it seems like reward can be positively again and also negatively again. Means that you can have positive reward or negative reward. But somehow we call it reward and penalty. So but some of people, they don't want to have different or bad connotation of penalty. They use reward, positive reward and negative reward. It's the same thing, reward and penalty. But anyway, these are all what they call as game playing elements. So if you want to design game, make sure that you have the game playing elements inside your game that you are going to design. And if you want to gamify your classroom, make sure that you have the game playing elements inside the strategy of your teaching. So how to do that? So you incorporate those elements in your teaching. So how to incorporate? If you have if you want to conduct your classroom online, right? This is also things that we can see. But before that, the most gamification elements or game playing elements people always use is actually badges. The rest is something else. So badges is everything in your life involved with badge. If you want to move from senior lecturer to associate professor to full professor, and then professor themselves, they also have ranks. So we need badges that recognize in terms of our skills and also our knowledge. So if you have these badges, it will ensure that you have already surpassed the level of expertise, certain expertise. So you become first, of course, novice, and then you have become the intermediate, casual, expert, and then Sifu, and then the rest will be the Mahaguru or something like that. So these are all stages that needs you to collect badges. So make sure that you have the badges in your teaching. In the non-gaming context, these are all we call as badges. If you are Boy Scout or Girl Guide, in order for you to have certain rank, you need to collect all these badges. Okay. Now I want you to go to Duolingo. Okay. Duolingo. Just punch in Duolingo. Duolingo. I give you like 5 minutes to get started. If you have already have an account, so just click that button. You can learn all languages listed here, okay? And see how they gamify the language learning activities in one platform. Can you do that? Now 10:45 lah. 10:45 we get back to our discussion. Okay. Do you have any problem with Duolingo? Try it first, huh? It's just a simple thing, get started, and then which languages that you want to learn. For example, like German. You want to learn German, okay, loading. So where do you hear, even though it's from me, just pass, just, this is just a normal thing. So why are you learning a language? So culture, continue. It's just like they want casual, they want your data. Okay, allow. Okay, continue with Google because you have already logged in, confirm. Okay, since I've already started before, so this is nothing for me. So you can look at what's news and everything. Yeah? Okay lah. Okay, next. So this is me. Okay, give you like till 10:45. Okay, Assalamualaikum. So how was it?
Danke. Danke.
Danke, danke. Okay. So basically, Duolingo is a language learning platform designed to help us on learning languages in terms of writing and also speaking. Sorry. So it has been changed a lot since I first used Duolingo, and to tell you the truth, after a while, I can see that the interface also changed. Yeah? Okay, you can see that here you have what they call it as start, and then there's a log location. So here you can see that these are all your pathway for you to get it. So when you want to learn level or unit 1, you can see that you need to go for how many stages? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then at the end of it, you will get a reward. Okay, this is what they call as how to gamify learning in terms of using online platform. So in the leaderboard, so you can see that I need to complete 6 lessons, including the one, so it's actually 7 lessons to start competing with all these people who already managed to go in the leaderboard, or some of people call it as scoreboards. It's the same thing. And then if you look at on the right side, there's a quest that it says for daily quest, you need to earn 10 XP. XP is experience. So along the way, you meet all these challenges, the quest equals to challenges, you will get experience in terms of the coin. And the currency that they use for this particular platform is lingots, or it's just like ringgit Malaysia in terms of currency, but then they use lingots. It's just like a germs. Okay, next, if you go and you want to start your lesson, so of course there's step-by-step questions. Then you need to pick which one. So then the pronunciation, then you can check whether it's true or wrong. If you get it wrong, at the end of the day, at the end of the progression bar, you will get the question again, and you need to ensure that your learning is successfully conducted, where you know that you have been put it wrong. For example, at Bahasa, I check it's wrong. At the end of it, you will get the same question, and for the second time, you shouldn't get it wrong again. So these are all the learning strategy that Duolingo have. So if you can fulfill everything, you can see that how they use the game playing elements in terms of teaching languages. Yeah? All right, I'm not going to ask you to create, that will be another session to create your own platform that you have all these elements. You need some skills about on that thing. But if you have idea, you can put your idea and then go and find any programmers that can do for you. Huh? In fact, if you have ideas on designing a game, go and find any students that are really into bachelor or diploma in game design, so they can create it for you. That is how you DIY your game, your do-it-yourself game. You have the idea, you are the what you call it, expert matter SME, subject matter expert. You are the expert content, but then you don't have the capability in terms of the design part. If you are using online tools, so you want to come up with a digital game, so try to get few students that can help you, or any company that can help you. But either way, if you want to go for digital game, start with non-digital first. Because if you have the non-digital, the gameplay, the mechanic, and all these rules ready, then it has for you to convert it into digital, it's just take a split second je. Huh? But in order for you to create the game itself, the rules, the mechanic, the gameplay, and etc., you can use the non-digital first. Okay, next section will be the gamification tools. So what are the gamification tools that we can use? So you can list, anyone can list any gamification tools that you have used before? Beside Duolingo just now? Other than Duolingo's? Anyone? You can put it in the chat. Anything that have to do with rewards, yeah, Kahoot, quizzes, Roda Impian, yeah, that these are the tools that can helps you in terms of engaging your student in, especially in online classroom. So you, yeah, true. So you gamify your teaching. Okay, again, attendant list. All right, so the best thing is that you need to identify what types of tools that you are going to use for your purpose. So this will be the most challenging process ever, huh? Because in order for you to select one, you need to use more than one. Because you will start to compare and contrast these tools, and then select one tools that can purposely fits into your teaching strategy. Yeah. Okay. You can go for Web 2.0. You can go for Web 3.0, VR, AR, MR, XR now. But Web 2.0 tools are still relevant currently. Okay, so here I will have categorize it into few functionality. Yeah? The first one, webinar tools. Second one, screencast or video maker tools. Presentation tools, infographic, mind map creation, gamification tools, quizzing, and brainstorming. This is Web 2.0 tools. However, for gamification tools, these are all tools that can help you in terms of creating your own or using directly in order for you to gamify your classroom. There are some tools that somehow fits into more than one category. So there's no harm about it. In the world of software application industry, you can see that some of the software application will upgrade their functionality throughout some stages of their circle life. For example, like in 5 years time, Tinker is actually a software that can design games. You can use Tinker to design games, and Tinker is actually suitable for children under like 7 to 15 years old. They can use Tinker to design games. And Tinker is actually have more functionality compared to Scratch. In Malaysia, Form 1, Form 2, and Form 3, secondary school, they are learning about Scratch. Have you heard about Scratch before? No? Okay. People are using Scratch to teach something, for example, like physics and etc. So let me show you Scratch. If the secondary school students are using Scratch, so might as well we know about what is Scratch. So Scratch is actually an educational tools. Is actually under one platform. They call it as Scratch Imaging Program and Share. designed by Michael Resnick, a professor from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. So if you go to Scratch, these are all portfolios of product designed by student, not only student, adults also. So it can be in terms of simulation, story, games, animation, storytelling, and etc. So in order for you to create one, Scratch is also known as web authoring tools. Web authoring tools means that any software, application software that you can author without knowing where it is, where it will save, use cloud technologies, and you don't have to download as an executable file. You don't have to download. It has to do with web authoring tools, the capability of web authoring tools. So just click create here, and then you will go inside the authoring part. So there are a few things. This is what they call as DIY in games. If you want to teach your student to learn something, or especially mathematics or English or physics, or story or languages, you can ask the student to learn by making games, not only by playing games, but also by making games. For example, like if you want to make the cats to move 10 steps, so logically it cannot move because we didn't give commands. So give them commands, some sort of a control. When click, what will happen? But if you make it like such as while you are playing Lego, so it goes, and if you mathematic wise increase the variable, so the movement will become faster and also longer steps. So these are all what we call as learning by making games. So I'm not sure about your fields, but maybe you can think about something that can help you in terms of gamify the classroom itself. So I will share you this link. Let me, oh, this is not a link. Okay, never mind. I will share the entire slides to the CPD, and then Nurul, most probably Miss Nurul will give to everyone. Okay, now we move to the third part on how to gamify your classroom. So if you are you ready how to gamify your classroom? Okay, before that, I will show you how I gamified my classroom first, and then maybe it is not perfect, but at least I've shared my lesson learned. So let's say that you have been given a class or courses by your head of department. So we call it in UPSI performer. So it has three structures: the course outline of the performer itself, the requirement that I need to look at before delivering it in the classroom, and then the process of it. So the process is also include the induction set, the development, or the whole process of teaching progression, and also the evaluation or assessment. So these are the things that I need to look at before I create my class. So let's say I have class called Gerakan Grafik Digital. Okay, so first of all, I would like to conduct a planning stage, where in the planning I will look at what are the course line, and let's say that I have 14 weeks, because some of the courses need to be offered in 7 weeks. So in 7 weeks means short semester, so it will be tougher, and then the assessment and also the way on how you want to deliver the class is different compared to the normal 40 weeks. So let us plan about the course outline, the requirement, and then also the process. So So what should I do? So I know about the game playing element. So from the game playing elements, these are the things that I'm going to have. The point system, badges and rewards, the experience part, ranking mechanism. Of course, I want to ensure that, okay, from 30 students, who will be the top 5? So that will be the ranking mechanism, and also the competition instruction. So instead of giving them a normal instruction for assignment, I give them some sort of a competition instruction. The way on instructing things, I will start by putting the pronoun. You need to, in order for you to, in this mission, to successfully fulfill the mission, you need to come up with this strategy. So these are all some sort of like game playing types of instruction, so that the student will get into it, so they immerse into the assignment that we give them. Next, class management. So you can use any software that allow you to do class management. You, for example, like Class Dojo. So Class Dojo allows the students to create, to pick their own avatars. So from here, they do not know who is Liam, who is Taylor, who's Phil, who's Kate. So only the lecturers know, only the teachers know who's who. So it seems like they children or generation nowadays, they like avatar so much because they like to portray themselves such as these avatars. So you use Class Dojo, they come up with avatars, and then you can manage your class perfectly. In schools, for example, there are also lecturers that use Classcraft. Classcraft. You can also use Classcraft because in Classcraft they have what they call X experience, HP level, and then you can create the, what you call it, mission, so-called as assignment for them in a group or individually. So these are all what you call it, application. You can download Classcraft. Some of it is free, some of the tools are not that free, where you can you can use them for certain duration. Some of them you can use them for certain levels, and then if you need more function, you need more time, then you can pay somehow with your own money. It's up to the university. If the university have subscribed Classcraft as the main tools for the teaching and learning using gamification, so you can use it. But then if it is not, then yeah, you have to use your own. In fact, like Canva, if you need more the professional functionality of it, so you need to pay. Next, book widget also one of the elements that can help us as the educators to manage with your learners, whether they have fulfilled the quiz, and what types of questions that they get wrong, and which questions are seldom being answered by student wrongly. So these are all things that can help you in terms of looking at whether your questions are too high for them, or you need to modify certain level of your questions. This has to do with taxonomy, Bloom, etc., etc. So book widgets is also one of the things. All right. In UPSI, we have our learning management system called My Guru. So beside any management system that you use, My Guru is the learning management system that can be considered, can be taken into points. It means that it has to do with the policy of the university, where it is a must for compulsory for all lecturers to use it. Whether you want to go for Class Dojo, if you want to go for Canva, or you want to go for Google Classroom, you can do that. But the marks or the KPI will be given under My Guru. So in My Guru, there's a monitor student progress where the students are giving are ranking into their attitudes, whether they are actively using My Guru or not. So here we can see that there are some students that couldn't bother about looking at what materials that you have uploaded, learning materials that you have uploaded as a lecturer. So some of the students, they download it. So you can see that the attitude of students, whether they go for slumber or outstanding or dedicated, and you can also look at the progression. These are the things that some of the elements of gameplay elements is being incorporated in the learning management system. So let's go to My Guru. So here in My Guru, this is a short SAM. So if you go to progression, student progress, this is the first week. This week will be the first week. I'm not sure where is the student. All right. So I didn't get, maybe they didn't put it in the system yet. Let us look at Hive. Game result, short SAM. Okay, monitoring, because the short SAM. So here I can see that who are the students are really into My Guru, where they have completed all tasks. So Mohamad Razik will become the first, how to say, in the scoreboard. So he will be the first. So this is how we put, and at the end of the class, Razik is being given a medal. It's not a medal like Olympic medal, but it's just like a small token of appreciation from the lecturer. So this is how you gamify the learning management system. Okay, everyone's okay right now? I need to take a break. Okay, other than that, if you want to either use existing gamification tools, or you want to mix and match, so you can come up with one block. Use any blogspot or any blog that you authoring tools that you familiar with, and then design your own. Design your own by mix and match. You know that, as I shown before, there are a lot of categories, so you just pull down these categories, and there's one particular software where our application where they call it as tournament scheduler. So this tournament scheduler can organize competition among the students. So when they organize the competition with students, it seems that the student know that they have they need to strategize on how to become the first group ever in the classroom. Right? So that will be the tournament scheduler. And one of the lecturer, Fizaria in UPSI, he used tournament scheduler to teach internet technology innovation, and he called the competition as ITI League. ITI League. So if you want to look at how he did it, you can Google his name, Fizaria Amsari, and then look at the how Internet Technology Innovation League is being conducted in his class. Okay, anyone? Okay. So next will be improvise. Okay, as I mentioned before, we are living in this new era, and this new era need us to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So the word learn, unlearn, and relearn is a buzzword for this era, where you need to look at what are the tools that you can use, and sometimes the tools, if they do not have any R&D, so it can be obsolete. And in 5 months or 6 months, because the software life cycle is only 6 months. If between 6 months you don't have, if the software didn't have any innovation or additional function, or new functions, it won't sustain in the computing industry fields. So there will be a new application software being introduced in the industry. So people will go to that particular application software. Before this, before Facebook, and anyone who use application communication media other than Facebook? Anyone? Before this? Oh, nobody.
Friendster.
Friendster. So what happened to Friendster?
Got bankrupt.
Got bankrupt. During those days, Malaysian falls under the second most top subscribers of Friendster. But when Facebook comes, people change from Friendster to Facebook. And then why? Again, this thing happened in the industry of mobile phone. Before this, we use Nokia 3310. But then when the smartphone comes, BlackBerry, during those days, BlackBerry, and then come out with, of course, iPhone. And then people started to change because of the functionality that they have. So if we want to look at which software that you want to use for teaching and learning, you need to look whether the software can sustain in the industry or not. Okay. Let us go to learning management system used by the Ministry of Education. The whole schools is using what they call as VLE frog. Have you heard about VLE frog? The whole schools in Malaysia use VLE frog, secondary primary school. So what happened in the before COVID pandemic started, they changed to Google Classroom. There's a lot of things happen. I'm not going to talk about the politics here, but then it has to do with the capability of the software itself, whether it can be sustained or it can be used with massive users, and whether the student themselves, the teachers themselves, the educators, the administrators, or the so-called end user accept all this functionality of the software. If they do, they will use it. If not, kaput. Then if not, it will be gone. It is not going to be gone, not only in the Ministry of Higher Education usage, but also maybe bankrupt, as what you mentioned just now. So these are the things that are becoming challenge to us, whether you want to learn, unlearn, and also relearn. Okay. So any question so far? If you don't have any question, I will ask you.
Doctor, there's a question in the chat box.
How do you set the mechanics, rules, and gameplay? So basically, when you have an idea of how to create games, you will somehow imitate existing games, because you cannot start from zero. You need to imitate. However, this is where your innovation instinct comes. There's a huge difference between invention and innovation. Invention is something like from nothing to something, invention. But innovation is from something to everything. Okay, let's say that you want to create a board game. So most probably you have played chess, Scrabble. You also play card game, poker, throw, down throw. You happy family, any card game that available. Or you can also use tile games such as dominoes. So these are am I pronouncing correct? Domino is domino, not dominoes. Dominoes is like a pizza. Okay, domino. Okay. So these are all existing games that can give you some expectation on what are the mechanic rules and also gameplay that you are going to create for the new game. Okay, so you will innovate the things. Have you played? Kenapa tak lepas ni? Have you played Angry Bird? Angry Bird?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. What about apa namanya tu? Mario. Mario Bros.
Yes.
Okay. So between Mario's and also Angry Bird. Wait, because I right. Okay. What do they have in common? Mario's and Angry Bird. Mario Bro games lah. Senang nampak sikit. Okay, this thing. Right? And Angry Bird. Nanti keluar. Okay, this thing. Right. So what are the similarity between Angry Bird and Mario?
They have enemies.
Oh, of course. They have enemies.
They have
They have
different.
characters. Again, I couldn't hear you. It's a platformer game. Yeah, platform. Side rolling. Okay. What else? Enjoy playing it. But if you play the first Mario, okay, this is the first Mario. You can finish the first Mario in less than 1 second. If you can YouTube, you can Google in YouTube how to play Super Mario in 1 second, 1 minute. Why? Because the gameplay is the same every time you start the game. Every time you start the game, you will have this character. The second, you will face with these two enemy, mushroom. And then it will go the same. And if you couldn't finish level 1, you will repeat back level 1, you will have the same thing. So you will keep on repeating the same similar gameplay. However, in Angry Bird, you will have different structure. Or maybe if you go for what happened? All right, if you go for any games, current games, the first, if you want to repeat the game, you won't get the same game level. There will be an algorithm. Maybe after 15 algorithm, you will get the same similar one back. But then in Mario, in the first game, Mario first version, you will get the same gameplay. This is how you create the gameplay. All right. The one that I want you to look at is Angry Bird. Have you heard about Angry Bird game? Not Angry Bird. Angry Bird. Not Angry Bird. I'm so sorry. My head is somewhere. Flappy Bird. Have you heard about Flappy Bird? Flappy Bird game is a phenomenal game.
Yes.
Yeah, in 2017, if I'm not mistaken, 2017, 16, 15. It was so huge It was created by a Vietnamese boy. And it becomes a very sensational in 1 or 2 hours, because whenever you play this game, your level of patience will somehow decrease. It used the character of Flappy Angry Bird, but then the asset, all these pillars, the asset, the cloud, the environment, he used Mario asset. So when the game is become phenomenal, because everyone's started to download Flappy Bird, Sony from Mario call the person who designed this game and ask him to take down the game from the app stores, because it somehow use their own asset. So if he doesn't put it, if he didn't put down the game, they will sue him. So the game was so addictive, yet enjoyable and fun, but at the same time stressful. So this type of games are casual game, but then it sounds look easy, but it's difficult. Look easy to do, look easy to design, but so difficult in terms of what? In terms of the gameplay. That is what you want to achieve. Simple game mechanic, simple rules, simple gameplay, but addictive, engaging, and also highly fun. Okay, Dr. Mai, is my guru using Moodle platform? Yes. Yes, okay. Yes, we have play Angry Bird. Okay, movement, their basic are Pac-Man. Yeah, it's a platformer. And then the levels, okay, I'm not sure. Okay, the one. How many games Gamified you make and incorporate for 140 weeks? Similar gameplay rules mechanic for 40 weeks. For me, it depends on how many hours that you have. Okay, of course you have 14 hours, but originally, because of the position that I need to reduce the gamification strategy a little bit, because I don't have more time with student in the classroom face-to-face. So I do have online, because I'm using hybrid currently. So if you have 14 weeks face-to-face, you can do more. You can do more and you can strategize more. I suggest that you incorporate not only your teaching strategy for 14 weeks, but also in terms of action research. So if you have grants, research grant, convert it into action research, so that you can do whatever you are teaching and learning strategy that you are going to do in your class. You convert it into some sort of a data finding that will be more and much more doable and also valuable, because you measure your teaching. So similar gameplay rules mechanic for 14 weeks. It depends how big you want to it goes. Because again, 14 weeks, you have a lot of things to cover. Maybe look at 1 or 2 topics, not the whole thing, because not everything can be gamified. It depends. For example, like there are some courses that needs practical, so they need to go to bio or chemical lab. So they yeah, maybe it depends on the situation of the courses itself. So it depends. So it is not that in 40 weeks, every 40 weeks you need to gamify. No, Again, how many game playing elements that you need to have in order for you to declare, okay, I have gamified my classroom. So again, it is the rules of thumb, more than one. If you only have one, it is not gamified. If you have two, yeah, you can consider it as a gamified. For example, you have challenge and also you have reward. That's it. Simple as that. I don't want to straight, okay, you need to have all 8. No. So it won't be satisfied at all if you can start learn, relearn, unlearn. So start with 2, at least 2. Mission or goal, and then the other one will be reward, should be okay. All right, so it's not finished yet. I thought everyone thinking that everything's finished, but then I would like to add a few things. You have already know about gamification, but then let's go to the game-based learning part. Game-based learning, as mentioned just now, is a strategy in using games. You want to use existing games, DIY games, or yeah, build it yourself, do it yourself, or design it all by yourself. So what is game actually? So when you talk about games, it's an organized play. You can play as a free play, but then if you have a very organized, structured types of activities, then you can call it as a game. So the definition of play up until games, until contest, and also sport is also an hierarchy. It's a hierarchical process that we can see. First, we start by free fun play where you have a ball and then you just throw the ball and then catch it. So it's just a free play. But then if you have organized play where you say whoever catch the ball will get 10 points. So whenever you have the if-else statement, so this is where you say that you have rules. If-else statement is things that have to do with rules in games. So if you can catch me, so you can have 15 lingot just now, lingot. So these are all organized play. But if the rules and also the way how to play the game, we make it as a competitive where you have another player to play with, so it become contest. And if you go higher, even though the visual is becoming lower, but actually if you go higher than that, if the games, any games, is being governed by any organization or professional bodies, such as for football or soccer, we have FIFA. So if the rules is being governed by FIFA, the game itself will convert from games to sports, because the person who play the game are not only player, but they are sportsmen. They are professional player. So when they are professional player, means that they apa panggil? Makan, they eat and sleep with the games. They have managers to manage them. They can go from one team to another team by selling or buying any players. So these are all where they call as sports. And in any sport, there will be a championship. Championship means the highest reward that they have. For example, in badminton, there are a lot of competition in badminton. So it has been governed by BAM for Malaysia. So BWF for the world. So what they have is the same rules, but if they want to have different types of competition, for example, like Sudirman Cup. So Sudirman Cup have different style of competition where in Sudirman Cup, you need to play 5 games in 5 different categories in a team. Women single, men single, women double, men double, mixed double. So these are all governed by BWF. So again, these are what they call as physical contests where you have professional bodies and then you have championship that you need to that you need to play with. Huh? What about e-sport? Anyone? What about e-sport? Okay, e-sport. Can share again the
Mobile
attendance.
Legends, is it? Like Mobile Legends.
Okay, so e-sport
Mm.
is also what they call as sport governed by certain body. So like Mobile Legends, before that Dota, PUBG. So they have been governed by certain bodies and they play the same rules anywhere in the world. We play the same rules, 5 versus 5 player, 5v5 we call it. So 5 players versus 5 player, and if you are an esports player, it means that you will be trained professionally, you will have a manager, you will have a sponsorship by certain people. So certain organization, they will sponsor you. So esport is also a very serious sport, but it is not physical contest. It is more on intellectual contest. So sometimes training mentally, you will get tired more compared to physical train. But again, it's up to you whether you are more towards physical or more towards intellectual. Okay, so game itself, as I mentioned just now, it can be categorized into 2. It can be non-digital or digital. Or the other word is called traditional. Okay, so non-digital and also digital. So for non-digital, it can be indoor or outdoor. But here we go back to the words of game-based learning. So game-based learning, you can use the game whether it is indoor or outdoor, it is digital or non-digital. However, another terms come up in GBL where they call as you can use games, you can learn by playing games, you can also learn by making games. So to play games, to make games, it can be on off the shelf. You can just pick a game and then play around the game, introduce it to your students, and then ask them to use. In UPSI, of course, we have Master of Education, PhD in Education. And most of the students are school teachers. Most of them are school teachers and also educators from higher institutions, from Polytech, police community, etc. There's a increased number of titles where the students, the master and PhD students, they create their own games for the purpose of their classroom. For example, like one of the students in physics and also in chemistry. So they come up with a board game by themselves. When we ask, why do you make your own games? Make your own games other than use any games that have to related to biology, for example, where you can get it in the market. So most of them will teach that, well, we'll explain that they couldn't find any games that really fits into the Malaysian curriculum. They couldn't find it. So what they did is that they need to create their own. So if they create their own, they need to start from scratch, from ideation up until production and testing. So when they go for ideation, of course, they are the subject matter expert. So they did to create by looking at the gameplay. They need to look at all these gameplay elements. What are the things, are the instructional design that they need to have in that particular game. So all these things need a proper structured types of research. They need to roll in expert that can validate the game itself before the game being used in the classroom. So you see how organized the project is. So before you create the games, bring some expert, 5 odd number 5, 7, 9, okay, to the game itself to validate the game. This is one of my experience where when the global zakat came, so the lecturer gave me the board game and then asked me and also my colleagues to sit down and play the game, and then wrote we come up with a report on the satisfaction or the fun part of the game. It's not only the effect of playing the game, but also the game itself, whether the gameplay is strong enough, fun enough, whether the mechanism of the game similar to other existing games that we have been played before, or is it a unique one? If it is unique, then they can go for IP, my IPO. So this is the process of a hard work of making game. But if you just use the existing game in the classroom, of course the challenge will be choosing the right games for that particular topic. Most of the teachers will say it's difficult. We play Saidina before, we play Monopoly before, but then how to add in Monopoly with land management, for example, or maybe port management. There's no port. Pelabuhan, port management. One of the PhD students that do Penang port management games create his own games of Penang port management. Because why? Because there's no port management as a game itself, so that he can use in terms of teaching on port management in UUM. So what happened is that we have to create one. So use your imagination on how to create games, but to closure, to make it more structured. Just bring along the experts to play, to play and to test whether your games is okay or not. So I've been using Missionarium. Missionarium is a game. Previously, you can play 3 levels for free, and then you have to buy the game. And by playing the 3 levels is more than enough for the students, where I teach interface design and also interaction design. So I'm using a game to help the student understand behind the philosophy of interaction design and also interface design in human-computer interaction. So, but before I choose Missionarium, of course, I need to play the Missionarium first. And then from playing the Missionarium, then I know where is where. Right? Okay. By making game, of course, I'm using Scratch. One of my friends is using Tinker. The other friend is using Game Salad. And one of my friends, again, we also use Game Maker. So these are all game authoring tools that help us in terms of how to create games by using game authoring tools. It can be executable game authoring tools. You can go for the high programming languages such as Unity, C++, C#, and etc. But then to help them in terms of logic thinking, we use authoring first. If they understand the logic thinking using authoring tools, even though it is a drag and drop, then they can easily move towards programming languages. They can straight away use conducting any coding and also programming games, 2D or 3D. Simple as that. Maybe a little bit short, where in UPSI we do have diploma in game design development. We have bachelor design in game technology. We have master design in game-based learning, and we also have PhD in game-based learning. So from diploma until PhD, we have all sorts of game design and development degree, but then we are focusing on education, game-based education. So, what are the challenges? Despite of using all these, whether you want to use existing or you want to make your own, so what are the challenges? Of course, the first one will be finance. It is not easy to make games. It's not easy to use game in the classroom, because you need to buy games. For example, like Monopoly. If you want to teach Monopoly in terms of financial management, you are not going to buy only one board game. You need to buy more than one. Even though it's like only 30 to 40 ringgits. Maybe if you have the special edition, the international edition, for example, is like 100, 120. However, the more student that you have in your classroom, this is where you need to make ratio, whether 5 students will have one game, one board game, or 4 students, one board game. It depends on the board game itself. So because some of the board game can be played by 6 person, 4 person, 12 person. It depends. In Germany, they have yearly competition on designing board game. For them, board game is like, it's not only in Germany, in Europe. For them, board game is boys' toys, big boys' toys. They need to show the creativity in terms of designing the board game itself, and you can see the design of the board game is different compared to the rest of the world. Germany board game. Okay, some of them is big enough. It's not only tabletop. It's not on the table, but it's not only on the table, but some of them like using different types of sizes and also scales, and some of them are using wood, some of them are using plastic, and they are also using cloth. So it depends. So it's a huge industry, even though in Malaysia we only have Syarikat Permainan Malaysia, SPM. But if you come up with your own, even they have the Corona board game, it is an IP for you. An IP for you. All right. So let us go back here. What are again the challenges? The second one is the playtime. I've been playing games since 1980s lah. 1980s, masa tu ada what they call it as Tetris, Mario, the old game, the retro types of games, and then I started playing again when I was in UUM degree level. I started to play Prince of Persia, and then the most addictive game ever for me is Full Throttle, and lots of games. And then when I started to have my own money, and then I buy PS1, PS2, and I started to play. Yeah, I'm die-hard fan for Final Fantasy, Prince of Persia, Assassin's Creed. So these 3 games are my game. I'm more for RPG, role play games. I'm not fond of any shooting games. Battlefield, like my husband, he likes to play Battlefields, Call of Duty, COD, and etc. So, but along the way, you can feel that you have less and less playtime. So, in order for me to select the best and also the most appropriate game to be used in the classroom, I have less time. So currently, what I just to polish my what you call as my brain. I'm more on the casual types of games, like Candy Crush, Planet Zombie, those things lah. But then when you have reduced or less playtime, you miss a lot of things in terms of coordinating your or aligning your course learning outcome with the gamification that you want to use it. So the good thing is, my student, my diploma students, and also my degree students are those from the Gen Z. So they play game a lot. So what I did, and I will do it again, is that I changed my roles from lecturing to facilitating. So I'm not going to teach them, but I have a set of instruction. For example, for character design, I have an instruction for them. Find a game and then discuss thoroughly, analyze critically on the 5 characters, best character for that particular game. So what I did is that this student will present in the classroom is in such a way they are teaching their peer and their colleagues. So this is because I don't have more freedom in terms of playing games. So I didn't play League of Legends. I didn't play Mobile Legends. The latest game that I play with the generation of Y and also generation Z or generation Z is Dota. When I start to play Dota, this generation is actually shifting from Dota to League of Legends. Now they move to Mobile Legends. Now they move to PUBG. Next, they go for Fortnite. So it's just like in a split second, the student change their preference of their games. The whole bunch of them, the whole batch, it's not 1 or 2, but the whole batch. It seems that there's the different perception in terms of entertainment or gaming value in these different batches. So I changed my roles. This is how I do it in my class. Next, time consuming. Of course, you play longer to gain higher experience. However, how much longer that do you need to have it? It depends on individual. Some of us, when you play a lot of games, whenever new games comes, it takes only 5 minutes for you to know whether the game is fun or not, because you have experience in other game before. So only spend 5 minutes, then you will think about it, reflect it again, whether you want to continue playing the game or that's it. Try to find another new challenging games. The selection process, of course, is the most difficult things. As I mentioned just now, you want to select A or B or C, which one? There's a lot of factors that can help you in terms of selecting process. But again, it is about aligning your games versus your learning outcome. People-oriented, of course, not everyone love play games. I'm not sure whether there are some of the participants here and is actually not fond of games. I've been there before. So it's just like accepting alternative. So when you have games, whether you want to create your own or you get it from off the shelf, so play test is the most important things. In one of the competition where we conduct with students from higher from secondary schools, during the last session where we conduct a play testing session, we mentioned to the all groups, all the competitors, you don't have to present the games. Just put the game on the table and 4 of us will play the game. If we play more than 3 minutes, you have the chance of winning. But if we say, all right, that's all, thank you, good job, good work, less than 3 minutes means that there's something wrong with your game. So the element of fun in play testing is also one of the key points, whether your game can be acceptable in the gaming industry or not. Because it is not, how to say, fun is actually the currency for commercializing your game. Fun. All right, so that's all for today. I'm pretty sure that if we can meet face to face, I have a lot of games that I can show you. But since it is only like 2 hours, perhaps CPD, IUM will contact me again. Who knows? All right. Any other things? Okay, your evaluation form is in the chat right now. Okay. Any question? Anything that you want to share in your IUM? Maybe you have a lot of games that you have produced. Or
Doctor, I have a question.
okay.
So in the beginning, when you first started to gamify your course, kan, so what would be the major obstacle or challenge that you face?
Okay, it is not fair because I'm into the game part, right? So let's say maybe the challenge will be your passion, your motivation. If you think that the game will help you in terms of engaging, what are the purposes actually? Engaging, participating, involvement from the students, or and what are the niat, the nawaitu, the thing that you want to achieve, then go for it. Make yourself motivate in terms of doing it, your passion of it. Since I am in the gaming line, so it is not fair for me to say that you must do, it's a compulsory. No, because certain people, I'm being in UPSI, there's a lot of how to say, educationalists that are not that old, but they are too strong in terms of education belief, right? So that's why I mentioned that there are some people say that this is just a sugar-coated. This is just a sugar-coated pill. This is why do you say that it is 50-50 when you talk about edutainment, edu and entertainment? So this is laro. There's a lot of things happen, right? So yeah, things happen, but that's one thing that you can see in this technology ecosystem that we are facing right now. Technology will come. A lot of technology will come. At first, I also mentioned to myself, am I choosing the wrong field? Right? Because my PhD is in game engine, right? Computer science in game engine. So it's just like, am I choosing it wrong? Laro? Is it haram? So it's just like, I keep on asking myself, and one day when I watching one channel in they call it as, I couldn't remember the name of the channel. Is Al Hijrah. The name of the is from Arab, but then the person went to Japan and look how Japan have the value of Islamic. And when I have this thinking in my mind without noticing whatever the content of the channel itself, I'm keep on thinking, am I putting myself in the wrong discipline or what? And then suddenly he mentioned something that, oh, okay, this is what Allah wants to say to me. He said that whatever field that you are in, we need to have more people so that we can see whether the field is right to our young generation or not. If the technology are too fast, we need to have more content, more on our own content. For example, you see how TikTok comes in the first place, and then people are so into TikTok. But where is our content? So we need to learn about that technology, TikTok technology, how the algorithm of the technology, but then put more content of our values. So this is our responsibilities actually. So once the representative say to me, he's not saying directly to me, but then I have my answer. I don't know how to say, but this is, yeah, I have faced a lot of obstacles regarding putting the game field in UPSI, but I'm also very glad that from the first pitching of diploma game in the Senate of UPSI, they accept it as it is. It's weird, but it's true. It also relate to our teaching strategy. There are some persons say that, there are some lecturers say that, no, we don't have to do this online. Of course, face-to-face are more soulful compared to online types of teaching and learning. But again, we need to learn how. It's not that we against or accept all approaches, but we learn. That is how we got learn, unlearn, and also relearn. If we learn, then you know that it is doable for our belief or not, right? Am I answering your question?
Yes.
Because
Yes, Dr. Mai.
yeah, a little bit sensitive and also emotional. It's not about, I'm not going to cry, but because I'm my voice, and also I'm not very apa kata, ada batuk-batuk sikit. Okay, so any other question, or do you want to?
That's one. I think Dr. Nasir, Brother Nasir is raising
Yes.
his hand.
Which one?
Yeah, can I ask a question? Can you hear me?
Yang mana?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. Yeah, I empathize you, Dr. Maizatul, because I'm doing that also. I'm teaching also through music, and people just like, oh, music is haram. Some people and so on. I empathize you, definitely empathize you. And I bring a guitar to the class, and just like people are just attacking me inside out and so on. so I empathize you, no problem. And but there's a question also I need to ask you is that I have a problem. You see, the problem of doing research, doing content, particularly high level content, it just takes a lot of time. To make a module on philosophy, oh my God. But for me to do online game, or what they call game-based learning, to actually to learn, let's say Scratch, for instance, very easy also. But the time is very like, do we have our bureaucracy? Do you think to what extent our bureaucracy can create a really serious, create a department that help lecturers like me who have a lot of content perhaps, that you specialize in gaming, then you handle my content, turn into games whatsoever. So I don't have to do, you turn into game based. Yeah, not me. You know, I'm doing content already. Like content is so difficult already. Do our bureaucracy is heading towards that point, or lecturers, you do everything lah. You know. What do you think?
Okay. Part and parcel. There are two things here. Okay, first regarding your expertise, which is music. There's a lot of potential in terms of music in games. There's a lot of potential there. Jingles, sound effects, soundtrack, and then in fact there are some games that have produced music, such as in Final Fantasy, they have 3 volumes of songs just for one game, Final Fantasy games. So, and the song is, if you have heard about Kiroro, so there's a lot of songs that really stick because of the games, and the song is actually created for the games. It's not that, okay, take any song and then put it as a games. No, but then there's the power of music and also soundtrack in games. Okay, first. Second, it is not only in your field. I think most of us have difficulty in terms of getting more games or more products that can help us in terms of teaching, bahan bantu mengajar or something like that, right? So the best thing is, this is my experience. The best thing is that turn it into assignment. Turning into assignment, and in one semester, if you have 10 groups, you have 10 products that you can use for next semester. However, the difficulty is you need to facilitate them so that they will produce the best ever teaching aids for you for the next semester. So, for example, one of my friends is teaching university courses that have to do with social pengajian Malaysia or something like that. So he has a lot of groups, and every groups, like 3 groups, have smaller groups of students. So how many videos you can create? Social experiment videos. So turn it into assignment, then you will see how energetic your students are in terms of delivering the assignment portfolio, and also helping you in terms of getting the teaching aids, and make sure that their names are inside the teaching aids too. Have you heard about Guitar Hero? A game called Guitar Hero? Maybe I share my screen.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. All right.
Is it an Xbox? Dr. Mai?
Can be
Is it Xbox?
Xbox,
Is it PlayStation as well, right?
PlayStation, mobile pun dah sekarang dah ada. Mobile.
Oh, okay.
Guitar Hero game. So Guitar Hero is also a game. Now there's a lot of what you call it, interface version. Guitar Hero 2015, 2016. Every year they come up with a new version. So you can see that this Guitar Hero or piano types of game. Piano game. Okay, like this thing, right? Even though it's like using, okay, or maybe if you are more on just dance, more for what you call it, performing arts. So there's a Just Dance games where they this is very unique. Just Dance is, the character was actually a true dancer. So it is not that a character that is being designed by computer graphic, but it's actually mocap, motion capture with the original true dancer. So it seems like it's a very competitive and also how to say serious business. So game is becoming more serious now. It's not only for entertainment, but is a big business. If you can, if you like to look at the business of games, of course, in Malaysia is quite small. Everyone know everyone, but then if you go forward, there's a lot of possibility for Malaysian games. There's a professor in Japan called Kawashima. Okay, Professor Kawashima. He come up with an idea of how to measure your mental or your brain age. So he pitched the idea of the game to Nintendo or Sony, Nintendo. So if you play Nintendo game before, they have a very specific Nintendo where they call it as Nintendo DS. Nintendo DS. So Nintendo DS is a it's a device, it's a portable types of game device where you can play games with two different screen. So he come up with the idea of how to measure your brain age by playing this type of game. Sudoku. If you remember when we are in the primary school, our mathematics teachers always say, okay, sekarang congak. Congak means that you need to calculate whatever calculation that she or he gave to you without using calculator. So you need to congak using your own brain. So this type of exercise, Professor Kawashima pitched. He did not design the game. He pitched the idea. He pitched the idea to Nintendo. Nintendo loved the idea, so they come up with the game called Brain Age, and they use his face as the icon. So, Prof, you can do that. You pitch the game. You pitch the idea, and people will do it for you if the game is actually can be fun and also marketable. So here you can see that at the end of the day, he can say that, oh, okay, your brain age is actually 27. So miscalculated. So your brain age is 50. Oh dear, your brain age is a little under 1. So he can calculate your brain age based on your existing or not existing real age, your real age. Okay, Prof?
Okay. I think we already past 12. So I think we're gonna ask another one question lah, if we have one. So any other questions? Last one from the participant?
Okay, tengok lah yang dalam ni tak ada. Okay, tak ada.
Tak ada. Okay lah Dr. Mai. Sorry lah because
okay.
you're not well, so
It's okay, it's
I
okay.
don't want to prolong your misery. Okay.
Misery.
Alright, so thank you so much, Dr. Mai, for the interesting and practical training. I think we're gonna call you again, this time for the hands-on and also face-to-face. And we pray that you have a speedy recovery from your sickness. And and I hope the training for today will help us to improve our current lesson plan and of course our course outline for teaching and learning. And also thank you to Sister Nurul for her assistance today. And don't forget to fill in your evaluation form. The evaluation form is very important to us at CPD so that we can improve the training further in the future. Okay, so in case that you miss certain part of the training, don't worry, we will upload the recorded video to our CPD website and also email you the recorded video, the link, okay? So we don't have anything else, so let's end our training with citation of Surah Al-As and Tasbih Kifarah.
Okay, thank
Alright.
you. Terima kasih semua. Assalamualaikum.
Get well soon, Dr.
Okay, Prof.
Mai.
Terima kasih.
Assalamualaikum.
Alright, thank you everyone.